Apparently, a vehicle designed by Volkswagen is forbidden from having random lines and creases that don't serve a function, meaning this fake bumper-mounted wheel well pressure extraction vent Mercedes can't seem to stop putting on every car it makes right here cannot be on a VW product, because it is there only for aesthetic purposes and serves zero function.
Fake air vent. It has these vents here which are fake, and then there's these shiny exhaust pipes which I will grass up now with my piece of grass. They are totally fake as well.
How ironic for a brand that slaps on fake chrome painted plastic exhaust tips on its cars.
Oh no, look, they're still doing this fake exhaust thing. And it's sort of mimicking an exhaust, but it's like they're trying to move away from it and in denial about the fact that it was supposed to look like an exhaust, but we all know the truth, don't we?
This car, Volkswagen Golf, very tough as old boot, very reliable. Volkswagen Golf, best-selling #1 imported car in Japan.
This so-called design rules upheld by Volkswagen is the main catalyst as to why all VW cars look just about styled enough. In other words, meh.
Volkswagen, das Auto.
This practice is also called brand design identity. Brand design identity is a collection of visual and conceptual elements including the logo, color palette, typography, imagery, and tone of voice that a company uses to represent itself, communicate its values and personality, and building a recognizable and consistent image in the minds of consumers. It's how a company visually and verbally shows the world its purpose and what makes it unique. Some perfect examples of a strong design language can be seen with Apple's pre-iPhone 17 Pro minimalistic designs and their washed-out color palette, or on the other spectrum of design language, Asus with their over-the-top RGB-loaded ROG products. Like Apple and the Republic of Gamers, car companies also implement certain visual identifiers on their designs. It could be anything from a preferred headlight/taillight shape to full-on proportional identifiers. Here are 7 car companies and their design languages. In the 70s, Mercedes safety engineer Bela Barini came up with a pretty ingenious solution to snow, mud, and road debris blocking all your taillights. You see, these ridges here prevent a uniform layer of mud, dust, or snow from covering the entire light. Instead, debris is forced into these grooves, leaving a larger portion of the lens exposed to shine through. Clever stuff. These ripped taillights have always been an indicator of a car built during the so-called golden era of Mercedes quality. Apparently, in the late 90s to early 2000s, Mercedes got rid of these ridges as part of a cost-cutting measure, marking the beginning of the W220 bad quality era for Mercedes.
This S-Class generation presented a new stylistic interpretation of the traditional Mercedes radiator grille. The star is repositioned on the hood.
Unlike BMW with their kidney grills, Mercedes doesn't have one single grille shape. Instead, they play with graphic elements within whatever grille shape they choose, be it their smiling grills or frowning grills. More recent AMG models are fitted with the Panamericana grille. This grille was first used on the 1952 300 SL race car. Mercedes brought it back in 2016 on the AMG GT. Now even the C43 has it. Less recent AMG models had what I like to call the biplane propeller and wing grille. I mean, just look at it for yourself. Also, the first version of this grille could also be seen on the 300 SL. But most iconic of all Mercedes grilles are the slatted barbecue-looking grille. I'm sorry, that's what I call them. When you think of Mercedes, the first image that pops into your head is most likely a W140 S-Class with this grille. Older AMG models also use this grille as well, like seen on the CLK GTR right here.
Barbecue bacon burger, 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 barbecue bacon burger.
This is the oldest grille design that has continuously been used over the decades, and it's one of the strongest brand design identities for Mercedes. Nowadays, we get these star patterned abominations.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
On non-coupe Mercedes models, the baseline of the greenhouse that meets with the C-pillar or B-pillar for frameless windowed cars is usually straight or downward curved instead of an upward swing on the coupe models. These aforementioned fake bumper-mounted wheel well pressure extraction vents have unfortunately become a design identity for Mercedes even on non-AMG models. Final design feature from Mercedes are these ugly square plastic exhaust tips. I call them ugly because the real tips are round and are hidden behind them. Back in the day, if you were cruising on the Autobahn and you spotted an Audi with silver wing mirrors in your rearview mirrors, you instantly knew it was a sign to move your slow ass shitbox the fuck over. That was Audi's way of telling you you got gapped by the fast Audi.
Change for the S4 and other high-performance Audis, the silver mirrors. They gave all the really sporty cars silver mirrors, which I always thought looked pretty cool. I didn't really understand there was a practical application until years later when I went to Germany driving on the Autobahn. You're in the left lane going 100 miles an hour thinking you're the fastest guy on the road. Then you see an Audi coming up with silver mirrors. You can tell instantly that there's someone faster behind and you move over and let him pass. These silver mirrors were an indicator to everybody in front of you that you were the fast car and they could see him coming up in their mirrors. And that was a cool touch that sadly Audi has dropped from its RS models today. But back in period, the silver mirrors in your rearview mirror meant move over.
Silver wing mirrors have always been a visual upgrade for Audi's S and RS performance models since 1994. Nowadays, you might still be able to get silver mirrors on current Audi models, mainly the S-Line models. Another Audi RS model exclusive design feature are massive oval exhaust tips. I say tips because Audi are masters at putting their socks in their trousers.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
Bruh.
On Audi models equipped with the Quattro all-wheel drive system, you get more muscular front and rear shoulders above the wheel arches to visually emphasize the Quattro all-wheel drive system's performance capabilities. Now, these three Audi design elements I mentioned here are more trim level based and not really a universal design DNA. But something that is Audi's most recognizable design flex are their cool LED daytime running light signatures. Any Audi can be easily recognized by their headlights, even by non-Audi fans. I think Audi makes some of the best DRLs in the business. Audi's daytime running light signature has evolved over the years, with earlier DRLs being individual LED light bulbs, forming sort of a swoopy hockey stick shape. As LED technology got better, it became a single LED shaped hockey stick. Soon we started seeing more static shapes, for example on the second generation R8 versus the first generation R8. But more recently, Audi started to play with animated daytime running lights, like seen on the current gen RS3 and RS6. Much newer Audi models come equipped with OLED projector lights that apparently can project multiple animations on the wall, including low-poly video games.
You want this, they will put it on sale for sure. And the idea will be that various game manufacturers, just like with mobile phones, will create games for the car. And you can just imagine, you're charging your Audi A6 e-tron and you sit there in front of the car.
I'm also worried about the replacement cost on one of these bad boys should they get pixel burn. This Audi DRL supremacy comes courtesy of the first-gen R8, the very car that transcended Audi to the big leagues of the German luxury automotive industry. But the R8 didn't just upgrade Audi's DRL game. You see, the R8 was the prelude to Audi's entire design philosophy. The biggest example of this flagship trickle-down effect can be seen on every Audi grille design since the 2003 Le Mans Quattro concept.
The keys are in the car. Enjoy it while it lasts.
This will be the birth of the famous and iconic Audi single-frame grille, or as I prefer to call it, the upside-down isosceles trapezoid single-frame grille. Although these days the grille is more hexagonal than trapezoid because every car nowadays has to look aggressive for some reason. Final Audi design touch is the nail spoiler. This one is a pretty insignificant design feature that didn't stick around for all that long, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Frank Stephenson can be credited for the entirety of McLaren's design language as we know it today. When he was working on the P1 project, he wanted to give the car a very recognizable face, so he came up with a pretty genius idea. Why not turn the McLaren logo into headlights? Imagine having 3 logos in front of a car. Yes, that's how branded McLaren is. The general swooshy nature of this logo also influenced several graphic elements of McLaren cars. For example, the taillights of the 570S, the 720S taillights, the 720S headlight assembly outline, Artura headlight assembly outline. I could go on forever. I don't think you can find a single straight line on the body of any McLaren. It's all made up of dynamic curves and swooshes, all very reminiscent of the McLaren logo. A lot of people have what I call McLaren design language fatigue. All McLarens look the same. You guys are totally missing the point here. It's called brand identity.
But what the hell, boy?
There is a reason all Lamborghinis have the same roofline. But perhaps one of the most important things for building a strong brand identity is a striking color palette. Ferrari red, for example, British Racing green and silver for Aston Martin. McLaren's most famous and iconic color is papaya orange, a bright high visibility orange that founder Bruce McLaren introduced in the late 1960s to make his car stand out in Can-Am and Formula One. These days, the McLaren F1 team is often referred to as the papaya team, although I think McLaren should just ditch the orange on its Formula One cars. I've never really liked the so-called papaya era for the McLaren F1 team. I know it's a heritage thing, but the Chrome and Marlboro era were just so even the black GP2 era that lasted only 2 years looked better than these orange things. I'm sorry, no, it's not for me. I'm not a fan. What I am a fan of is Volcano Orange. McLaren should have just made the orange a road car exclusive because it's just so damn. Another design feature used by every McLaren are multifunctional headlights. Multifunctional in the sense that you have cooling ducts in the headlights for anything that needs cooling in the front. And this design feature first appeared on the P1, and you could also credit Frank Stephenson for inventing this. This has been one of the biggest McLaren design identities, with the 720S fully exploiting the functionality of these multi-purpose headlights with its signature eye socket headlight assembly. It was good when it was only McLaren doing this multi-purpose headlights until Tesla copied it, and then Ferrari copied it in 2019 with the SF90, and now Ferrari has based its entire personality on multifunctional headlights.
What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
Final McLaren feature, and this one isn't a design feature, and I know the video is about McLaren's brand design identity, but we all know McLaren's whole personality is based upon the flat plane crank twin turbo V8. Except from F1 and Solus GT. The twin turbo V8 and McLaren combo is like Ferrari and Stone Age aluminium, like Porsche and flat sixes, like Audi and Understeer, like billionaires and mine. Oh my god. Nothing screams McLaren more than a fairly high revving flat plane crank V8 that tries and fails to sing louder than the evil forces of turbo muffle. Me personally, I believe more manufacturers, especially McLaren, have to embrace turbo noise again and stop trying to make turbocharged cars sound apologetically non-turbocharged. What they end up creating is turbo muffle. Now I can explain the difference between turbo noise and turbo muffle in a separate video, but all you have to know for today is turbo noise good, turbo muffle bad. Okay, I know I got a bit carried away with turbos and engines, but this video is about McLaren's brand identity as a whole. So I'm guessing that should include their self-destruct reliability.
Can we JB weld it back together? JB weld, can y'all hook a brother up? Come on, man.
I guess McLaren as a brand has been a subject of ridicule just for having a strong, recognizable, and somewhat rightfully so repetitive design language, just like every other luxury car brand in existence. McLaren is a brand that tries its best to do everything outside of its reliability the right way. Unlike Ferrari, they understand that every supercar has to be built out of carbon fiber. People often love to hate on and poke fun at McLaren for their overly recognizable design language, often citing it as repetitive and lazy, but that couldn't be more far away from the truth. Of all brands in existence, not just car brands, Lamborghini has one of the most recognizable design languages. That's because every Lamborghini since the Countach has been built like a literal wedge. It's very easy to draw a Lamborghini from the side view. You don't even need to draw 3 boxes. The entire Lamborghini silhouette is built upon one continuous roofline. But more recently, we've started to see that single roofline become less linear. You can start to see a little step near the head of the driver, all in the name of increased headroom, because apparently Lamborghini's clients grew beyond short Italian men. This all started to get a tiny bit noticeable with the Aventador, and even more noticeable on the Revuelto. Lamborghini models prior to the Aventador used a lot of rectangular graphic elements. The Countach's graphic elements were made up of literal sharp boxes. By the time we got to the Diablo, Lamborghini's designers under Chrysler's supervision took an angle grinder and rounded up all the sharp corners found on the original Gandini prototype, which I'm actually not a big fan of. Good job, Chrysler. Moving into the 2000s, and the Murcielago and the Gallardo started using more quadrilateral graphic elements. In case you are a dumbass who doesn't know basic geometry, there are these slanted looking rectangular shapes seen on the headlights and other graphic elements on this generation of Lamborghini designs. In the early 2010s, Lamborghini stopped playing with quadrilateral shapes and developed a worrying obsession with hexagons. Also, in the late 2000s to early 2010s, Lamborghini started experimenting with Y shapes, first vaguely hinted on the dotted LED taillight elements on the Murcielago, Gallardo, and Reventon. But the 2013 Veneno and the 2016 Centenario will be the prelude to Lamborghini's current Y-shaped obsession, seen on the Terzo Milano and Rialto. Finally, in 2020, we saw the SC V12 Essenza launch with hexagonal DRLs. This, in a sense, no pun intended, was a preview of the new Temerario taillight and DRL design. Lamborghini has cleverly made Ys and hexagon their current design language, but perhaps the most iconic Lamborghini design feature are the Caesar doors, exclusive to the V12 models only. But more recently, since the Aventador, the Caesar doors have been hinged a bit less vertically for better ingress and egress. These outward angles on the doors are especially pronounced on the Rialto, so angled out to the point that they almost look like any other generic dihedral door.
My life be like.
Nonetheless, the Caesar doors are now known as Lambo doors, even though Alfa Romeo did it first. All BMW C-pillars have these curves to them. Why, you may ask? It's called a Hofmeister kink. But where does the name Hofmeister kink come from? It dates back to former BMW Director of Body Engineering and Development, Wilhelm Hofmeister. Incidentally, he was not a designer, but rather an engineer and a division manager. And at the time, the division manager for body development was also the de facto head of BMW design. The distinctive kink is not a BMW invention, nor did it come from Hofmeister. It had already made its appearance on vehicle bodies in the 1940s in cars from the USA and Italy, first in two-door coupes and then convertibles, and subsequently in saloons as well. Since then, the Hofmeister kink has become one of the most recognizable BMW design features outside of the kidney grills, which is time to talk about. The first BMW to have a kidney grille was the BMW 303 back in 1933. Since then, the kidney grills have become the most recognizable design element on any BMW model. You can strip a BMW of all its brand identity except the kidney grills, and even the untrained eye will still tell it's a BMW. It's a real shame that the new cars lack all semblance of facial harmony. More recently, BMW is also known for using these hockey stick shaped light elements. Hockey stick shapes can also be found as fake decorative vents on the side panels of most BMWs. Sometimes they're just body lines, not fake vents. Also, BMW interiors rarely have organic shapes. BMW interiors are usually made up of horizontal lines. The older BMW interiors were less fancy and more driver-centric. Recently, that philosophy has drastically changed, with the newer interiors being littered with crystals and dashboard-mounted TV screens with exposed brackets on them. Why, BMW? Why? Another noticeable but often overlooked BMW design language are the four headlight elements. I say elements now, but back in the day it was four individual headlight units. But as more modern and flush headlights became a thing, BMW introduced the halo lights, every BMW fanboy's Roman Empire. Over the years, with each life cycle impulse redesign, the halo lights got less round and more geometric. Now the 4 headlights are 4 static ugly light strips, barely a shadow of their former glory.
Honorable mention.
Before the final brand, let's go over 3 honorable mentions. Bugatti. Horseshoe grille, centerline, C-shaped side air intake. Koenigsegg. Wraparound visor greenhouse. Double bubble roof, low mounted side air intake. Letterbox rear window. Center mounted exhaust. Even though the rigorous exhaust system is part of the diffuser, they still managed to design a center-mounted exhaust system for the electrical system cooling. Talk about commitment to your brand identity. And finally,
the door mounts to this portion here, so when I push this in, you can see what it does.
Finally, let's talk about Porsche, or should I say Porsche. Well, what's to say here? The Porsche 911 design language is undoubtedly the most iconic silhouette in the entire automotive industry. Every Porsche designed SUV or sedan or mid-engine sports car has heavy or subtle 911 influence. It's impossible to mistake the Porsche design language for anything other than a Porsche. From the sloped roofline, round headlights, rear light bars, and 5 interior gauges, everything Porsche brings to life is done with utter Germanic precision. Anyways guys, that's been it for this episode of Stop Motion Yap Session. If you fuck with this heavily, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.